Good evening, everybody. I'm just a simple man and the current No DQ Wrestling Predictions Champion, and my name is Noah Foster. And welcome once again to this week's installment of 205 Live Matters. I am officially back from a 4-day hiatus on all things wrestling since I had finals this week, but I'm happy to say I passed them all. And also with me, I'm glad to see once again back. He's a family man, and he is the Holiday Chris Mace. Welcome back, sir, and how have you been?
I'm doing all right. Everything's getting better one day at a time, but I'm glad to be back so we can talk some wrestling here.
Yeah, and I'm glad to hear everything's doing good. Your family, too. It's how I pretty much take life as well, one day at a time. You deal with stress, you deal with burdens, but you just keep on moving forward while pursuing your passions in life and enjoying the little things in life, too, which I finally can, again, more easily now, which is wrestling. 4 days of nothing wrestling. Whew, that was insane for me.
Yeah.
It was nice to start off today with 205 Live, hashtag 205 Live Matters. So that, why don't we get into tonight's show? So tonight marks episode 127 of this series, since it's an inaugural episode. And we're going to bring up the word inaugural a lot here because this episode was really interesting how it called back to many other participants on this week's episode being on the original episode 205 Live, ever since it began. But anyway, tonight was episode 127, emanating from my home turf of the state of Ohio at Ohio State University in Columbus, Ohio. And we start off with, again, they're changing things up, it seems. Once again, the champ kicks us off. Tony Nese walks us into the show, and he talks about how Drew, he wants to basically use this as his platform. But again, you're not facing your old rival. You're going in the ring with the champ, and how Tony Nese wants to be a fighting champion. Because apparently, unbeknownst to me, since again, 4 days of hiatus, I guess this match was made on social media after Drew Gulak called out Tony Nese for basically taking a honeymoon with the title, and then Aries, I guess, going him into it. So both men basically played a part in what became our main event for the night, which was Tony Nese versus Drew Gulak. But before we got into the show, Drew Gulak, he came in and talked about how it's funny. One opportunity could possibly lead to permanent change. And really, that's how I see this, because this is just an outlier. For those of you that don't know, outlier is a mathematical term. But the bottom line is, when you step to me, you will tap out. So I thought it was a very interesting opener. Once again, Drew Gulak giving us the educational stick with his promos while still respecting his opponent and basically talking about his overall stance for Bear 205 Live. And then Tony Nese, again, he's trying to be the guy to carry the brand. Can he be the next Alexander? I honestly don't know at this point. What are your thoughts so far on the opening promos we got, Chris?
I like the opening promos. I like going back to this feud because, to me, like I said, I'm a big Gulak fan. I'm always going to be a Gulak fan. I've never always been the biggest fan of Tony Nese. Like I've said on previous episodes, he's making me a believer in him slowly but surely. So I was really excited to see this main event. I could watch these two wrestle all day and be happy.
Yeah, and the thing is, we're going to get into that. The way they do these matches, and sometimes, Frank, I've always seen it before, they really don't feel the same. Each
No, they don't.
adds another element to the overall story or the overall just knowledge of each opponent and really how you play in the finish. It might be a quick finish. It might be a nowhere finish. It might call back to another match, and it might get reversed. You never know. But we'll get into that shortly. So with that, we get into the show, and we get our commentary welcoming us in. The standard commentary is back. Nigel McGuinness back from NXT UK training with head commentator Vic Joseph and, of course, other color commentator Percy Watson. And why is David Otunga still part of the team? They don't even call him the host. Is this a foreshadowing of things to come? Is somebody leaving?
I hope not.
I mean, David Otunga on commentary, I kind of like the team of Nigel, Aiden, and Vic. I think Nigel and Aiden have really great chemistry. The best thing David Otunga brings more is just like the business perspective of the cruiserweights and how basically when you think about main roster decisions versus this, I don't know. I have weird feelings about David Otunga on commentary right now. I don't know how to call him. It just seems weird to me. And yeah, but anyway, beyond that, we get into opening contest. I feel like the Lucha House Party is pretty much selling this position now to become the opener mostly for the show. As once again, they open the show, but this time without Kalisto, who's doing apparently good charitable work in Houston, I believe they said, with Boys and Girls Club America. Good for him, but apparently Penelope was Kalisto. Stupid pinata. I'm sorry. The pinata is stupid. It annoys me. Anyway, it's Lindsay Dorado and Grand Metalik, which I thought was really interesting. As I can't remember the last time we just saw those two out there by themselves as a team, and I'm like, okay, tag team. Now, who could they be facing? Honestly, I couldn't even think of a tag team. I was thinking of jobbers, but not a million years did I think these two. Well, Chris, you wanted a shake-up. How about a team from the very first episode that hasn't been on since? The Singh brothers are back on 205 Live.
I know, I saw this.
Yeah, and apparently they come out and they talk about how they are the only undefeated team. Well, I guess you technically are undefeated if you only been on one episode and you won. But yeah, the only undefeated team now on 205 Live. So before I get even into anything about this match, what were your thoughts on the Singh brothers returning to 205 Live, and then your thoughts on this match?
Okay, I'm kind of actually glad the Singh brothers are back, and the only reason I'll say this is because they needed to break away from Jinder Mahal. They needed to do something different. They couldn't always be Jinder Mahal's pretty much, I'm going to say it like this, they're pretty much Jinder Mahal's bitches. That's pretty much what they were. They were helping him. They were helping him every time in title matches, helping him try to win matches, and they were pretty much a joke there. I think with 205 Live Matters, they'll give them a chance. Like I said, they were on the inaugural episode. Like I said, okay, you're claiming you're undefeated. You were only on there the first episode, and after that, you disappeared. So, but I think it'd be a good change because it makes me wonder with bringing them in, could we possibly get those 205 tag titles that we've been hoping and wishing they would do and bring to give the other 205 Live members something else to fight for besides the cruiserweight title all the time?
Indeed. And, I mean, yeah, I don't know if you can call much of a streak if you won one and only one match. But I thought this was a pretty fun match. And the funny thing is here, each of the commentators, including Otanga, so I'll give him credit. He did okay in this episode. They each gave credit towards the Singh brothers and 205 Live and the shakeup, how apparently the shakeup is still going. Now, last I checked, I figured shakeup would just be 1 week. This is week 3 now, if I'm counting correctly. What the hell's going on here? Anyway.
They're undecided what they want to do, apparently.
Fickle! Daniel Bryan was right. They are fickle. Anyway. Yeah, but it was a nice match. We got a crossbody and a vicious chop by Grand Metalik to one of the Singh brothers. And I'm not even going to try and name which Singh brother was in the ring because their names are too close to me. But anyway, following that, we get, Wheelbarrow Bulldog combination with Lucha House Party. I thought it was unique. Tag team chemistry. And then we get Lindsay with a vicious lariat to Sunil Singh, turning him inside out. But then typical heel versus face tag team here. Sunil pulls Metalik off the apron when he goes for the tag, but then we finally get one of Lindsay Dorado's finishers, the Golden Rewind, and then we get, I like to call it like a turnaround dropkick where he just spins around the ropes, and then he even tells the ref to move out of the way, and then he just drop kicks you from the second rope, and Metalik did, followed up with a nice sling blade combination, and then Dorado, he gets a double super kick for his trouble by the Sunil. And you're right. This really showcased how good the Singh brothers are as in-ring competitors. Because remember, they started off in the Cruiserweight Classic. They had one-offs in NXT. They weren't always just human crash test dummies or the carrying cases for Jinder Mahal. But yeah, Vic Joseph, throughout this match, he brings up thoughts about how the Superstar Shakeup is still going. And then Otanga talks about how intricate the Singh brothers played in, as you said, Jinder Mahal's championship reign. Oh God, 2017, that was fucking horrible. And I'm speaking the truth. Sorry. Aiden English, he also, again, Aiden to his credit, he tells you about these guys and why you should believe them. Aiden acknowledges how the Singh brothers were trained and endorsed by Bret the Hitman Hart himself, a callback out to their gear as well, as they came out in the pink and black. But also, I feel like Nigel is giving us simple teasers. I know we talked about additions to the roster. Nigel did say, oh, what about shock to the system? I still think Roderick Strong's coming to 205 Live would be a great addition, but that's just my opinion. Moving on. But anyway, going back into the match, we get like a double combination of a walking rope, elbow drop, and then shooting star press, and Lindsay Dorado gets the win. Well, that's freaked over before it even began. And I like to think that you're right, because now you do have 2 teams. I feel like if you're going to have a tag team division, you're going to have like at least 4 teams. But again, the roster is so small. They need at least a couple more buys, in my opinion. But hopefully this is a thing of better things to come. And I'm glad personally that the Steam Brothers are back in 205 Live. It's nice to see them actually be wrestlers versus punching bags. I thought this was a pretty decent opener.
I thought it was a pretty decent opener too. I'm kind of glad Singh brothers are back because now they can actually show their wrestling skills because they are as a team pretty damn good team. Like I said, they do a great job storytelling. So I'm kind of glad they've broken away from Jinder Mahal or back on 205 Live. That's where they need to stay and they can showcase their talent.
Indeed. All right. So moving on from there, we get our first backstage segment in Drake Maverick's office. And he basically congratulates Kirill on his victory, but he also advises Kirill to stay away from that Drew Gulak character, okay? But then who comes in off screen? Welcome back, gentlemen, Jack Gallagher. And he basically comes in and congratulates Humberto Carrillo while basically doing an impromptu challenge to him in 2 weeks because he's not medically cleared. So, for the first time ever, we might get Humberto Carrillo versus Jack Gallagher. And I feel like this might be planting the seeds of Jack Gallagher possibly turning face. What were your thoughts on this?
I could see it being the possibility of the gentleman turning face, but also it makes you kind of wonder in the back of my mind too. It's like, okay, could this all be a swerve? Just try to teach Alberto a lesson, and he's still with Gulak. It's like I said, I like the storytelling. I'm really curious to see how this all plays out. Like I said, I've liked this teacher versus student dynamic they've been doing with the gentleman being in the middle of all this. I've liked the dynamic of the whole storytelling. So, to me, I'm really interested to see how this all plays out.
Yeah, I feel like Drew Gulak is not done with either of these men. But going from there, we get into our next match. Well, we were supposed to get into our next match. Kendrick, he comes out, but he gets attacked from behind by Mike Kanellis, who then gets attacked by Akira Tozawa, and we get a pull-apart brawl. But I do like the fact that, again, bring it back to the inaugural episode of 205 Live, the Brian Kendrick, who was also involved on 205 Live since the first episode, they did acknowledge that. But then, of course, we get Drake Maverick, some referees. They try to pull Akira and Mike apart. Mike goes through the crowd with a weird smile, and Akira, he's viciously angry. And, of course, now just putting over how, hey, turnabout's fair play. This is a payback for last week. While Aiden brings up the multiple number of weeks that Maria Kanellis played a factor in Akira Tozawa's matches with Mike Kanellis. So, yeah. So that was certainly filler, but again, more storytelling for things to come. Following that, we got Arya Daivari, who basically hypes himself and this championship match, whenever that might be. I still think it's going to be on Cruise. I still think it's going to be at Money in the Bank. Anyway, Arya Daivari, he says how he still is undefeated, and to his credit, he is. He also acknowledges and gives us a reminder of who he has beaten on his way towards this title opportunity. He's beaten Cedric Alexander. He's beaten Akira Tozawa. And last week, he beat Oney Lorcan. And then he also talks about how Gulak is sure to tear Tony Nese apart. But it's not like he's throwing his own victory parade already. But if you don't think that he has a chance to become Cruiserweight champion, then clearly you haven't been paying attention. And then he goes back wearing his shades, wearing the Versace jacket. So what were your thoughts on both of these segments?
Well, like I said, I was kind of hoping that we saw the Brian Kendrick in a match. Like I said, I've always been a fan of his since his early days and back in WWE when he was Spanky. We all remember that. Let's not forget that name. But I was like I said, I was interested to see what was going on. Then Mike Kanellis coming to attack him and setting up Tozawa to come out there and attack him. Like I said, they're continuing this feud. Like I said, I can't wait till next week when they have their no disqualification match next week, see how that all plays out. But it also could be setting up once Mike Kanellis is done with Tozawa, they could be setting up for him to feud with Brian Kendrick, so they could be planting that seeds for his next feud once he's done with Tozawa. So I'll be interested in seeing that match next week and a possible feud with the Brian Kendrick. And then on the other one that we were just talking about, that I went completely brain dead on for just a second, but I remember what we're talking about now.
You're fine. All right.
Like I said, we'll see we'll see how everything plays out.
Yeah. And you have to imagine, since it's going to be no DQ. This has got to be the culmination because, again, the beauty of 205 Live, they close the story with an epic closing main event match, sometimes under a circumstantial aspect. But due to the circumstances, go to like a tornado tag or no DQ or street fight or 2 out of 3 falls. But it's always something memorable. So I'm sure Akira Tozawa and Mike Kanellis, they're going to tear the house down. But I don't expect Debra and Kendrick to be simply a bystander. Neither Maria. It's going to be interesting to see how this all comes ahead next week. And like you said, the aftermath. Is it going to be Mike Kanellis versus Debra and Kendrick fall on that? Because honestly, Debra and Kendrick, he hasn't had a feud going on in months.
Nope.
So hopefully this means bigger and better things for him too. Okay. So following that, yeah, you basically broke down our next thing because, again, breaking news, we learned that's going to be Akira Tozawa versus Mike Kanellis in a no disqualification match, which leads us into our main event. Drew Gulak versus Tony Nese. Okay, why the fuck is the friggin' Cruiserweight title with a Velcro strap? Are you telling me Vince McMahon and WWE are budgeting cutting so much you can't even have belts now that buckle and fasten? Really? Nobody's wearing the armor for a wrist, so why does it matter? It's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, if they start doing that with the Rev, because I'm not even going to buy that shit. Thank goodness I got this one with friggin' fasteners. Anyway. So, what were your thoughts? Sorry. What were your thoughts on this match?
Like I said, I could watch these guys wrestle every time, every week, and be entertained with them. They always seem to do something different. You're not going to see the same matches. Like I said, I will compare Drew Gulak to like a Dean Malenko. Okay, he's always focused. He's always serious in his matches. Like I said, he can pull off an amazing match anytime. Like I said, he's a great technician. Like I said, I have never been the biggest fan of Tony Nese. I've told everybody on past episodes I've never been the biggest fan of Tony Nese, so he made me a believer when he won the tournament. He won the Cruiserweight title. He said he successfully defended it against Buddy Murphy. Like I said, he has made me a believer in him. And like I said, he, to me, is getting better and better every time he goes out there. He's showing that he has that championship pedigree. Like I said, I like this match. I like the callback when he had him in the Gulak, and Gulak had him in his submission. They tried to go back where Nese hit the ropes and tried to reverse it again like he did in the semifinals when Nese beat him. Like I said, to me, it was a great match. Like I said, I can never get bored with these two wrestling. I could watch them every week and be entertained because they're always going to do something different. They're going to do something very entertaining. Like I said, I am a big fan of storytelling and technical wrestling, and this was the match. I love this match.
Yeah, and it's really hard to really rate and rank these matches because I did a little bit of a history callback to how many times these guys have faced each other, whether it's been friend, mutual respect, or enemy. This goes way, way back. I mean, when you remember the inaugural version of 205 Live under a different creative direction, they were a tag team. And their butts kicked on a number of occasions, yet they still remained friends through it all. And then January 2018, Triple H, he gained creative control of 205 Live and totally revamped the show, which of course led to Drake Maverick becoming GM. And back in last year in February, he talks to both men about getting serious, about how you're both just comedy acts, but you have so much wasted, not unlocked potential. Talk about Drew Gulak, talking about proper presentation and picket signs, and then Tony Nese talking about congratulations, you have abs. And then from that point, we just went on from there. I mean, they faced each other last year in February in the first ever Cruiserweight Championship tournament. And let's think about this. Drew won that and dominantly. Then following this, we had a gauntlet match later on with Drew Gulak. Once again, he and Tony Nese, they came across in past. Drew beat him.
Yep.
Wind the clock all the way to this year, and it's literally turnabout's fair play. Because in this year's Cruiserweight Championship tournament, Tony Nese won. The score now 1-2, but Tony Nese finally overcame Drew Gulak. Here we are again, both of these men facing off against each other. And once again, it was a stellar, close to 20-minute bout. So basically, we get, of course, our initial, mat game / controlling battle where both men go after each other with wrist control of his arm drags, and then Gulak with the first real shot of the match with that vicious open hand chop. We also see Ari Daivari, once again watching from a weird angle in a Versace shirt, whatever the hell that means. The match in a very nice-looking locker room or viewing room, it seemed. Very unique. Yeah. Makes it not feel so generic. Really goes with his character about, I'm all about the money. Okay, I want the finer things. I'm going to watch this. I'm going to watch this in the best possible room I can. So there you go. And basically following this, though, Nice, he gets a flurry going, and then we get a quick cover, nothing special. Then we get a vicious forearm smash, first of many in this match. And then Tony Nese once again showing off his agility with the Matrix kip up, and then the back heel kick to the midsection, and the Frostberry flop, brings it back to a cover. Nope. We get an exchange of chops, and then Nice, he goes into the apron, sternum first, after it looked like Drew Gulak was trying to escape. But again, the thinking man. Then we get like a combination jump, roll through. Tony Nese, however, this goes back to how well these men know each other. He knew Drew Gulak was going to roll out after Tony Nese jumped up. So what does Tony Nese do? He basically changed gears and kicks him with a knee. Then goes for his first running knee attempt. Drew Gulak, aware of it, gets out of the ring. Then later on, they're both on the apron, and then Nese gets slammed hard on the apron, almost a Mitsunoku driver if he drove him down on his neck. Still, vicious, nasty spot there. And then following this, we get a guillotine attempt. I also liked how it constantly went back to the future challenger to the Cruiserweight title watching, but also how he changed his reaction based on how Tony Nese is doing in the match. It makes it feel more organic to how I'm interpreting my opponent. I'm not just staring, looking at space.
Right.
Following this, we get a roll through open palm strike, Tony Nese combination with the Hurricane Rana, but it looks like he hurts his knee off the springboard Hurricane Rana. Kind of like what Seth Rollins, I think, did a couple weeks ago. Because, you know, when these wrestlers, these athletes go for these high-risk maneuvers and they land knee first, that goes throughout your entire body. It's like your legs go numb. So it looked like he may have hurt himself there. And it looked like he kind of sold that for a little bit of the match. But following that, he gets, as we talked about, another springboard moonsault off the second rope. It doesn't look like it has as much impact, though, but he goes for a cover. And again, commentary brings this up, too. Not even close. Then we get our first Gulak attempt, and nope, we get a suplex on the apron, both men to the floor, awkward landing. Yeah, shut. And basically, Drew, he looks on wondering. No, I'm sorry. Our head Rye looks on wondering. And following that, we get Tony Nese with some more offense, and they talk about how since becoming champion, he's more confident. He shows more aggression. And it looks like Tony Nese really did drive a second gear in this match at this point, showing off that. Again, Otunga, Aiden, they do okay. I think Otunga and McGuinness, that's a little too much.
Yeah, it is.
I'm just saying. But then following this, we get vicious standing vertical suplex onto the floor by Tony Nese. And then he throws Gulak in the ring for a cover. Nope, still not enough. And then following this, we get our second Gulak attempt. He wants to get that Gulak. But then we get a callback to their last match and how Tony Nese won. He somehow finds a way to roll up Gulak, but Gulak gets his shoulders up this time. So there you go. Match continues. Then we get one of Tony Nese's best hits, the pump handle driver, into a nice near fall. Still not enough. And then we get the segment of the match where you know things are truly turning, but this is also where you separate your character from your wrestling ability. Drew Gulak, he's set up on the middle rope. David Southfield on the ground, right? Nope. He literally, bench presses Tony Nese over him and then drops Tony Nese midsection first on his knee off from the second rope. Vicious, but still not enough, apparently. He finds a way to kick out, and then this surprises Ari Daivari. This shows how far Tony Nese is willing to go to keep his title and how much punishment that Ari Daivari may need to dish out. It's going to be interesting to see them two in their title match, especially with Ari Daivari being undefeated. And then Gulak, he's just frustrated. He opens slaps and strikes Tony Nese. But Tony Nese, he answers back basically with his own little flurry, and then he goes for his 450 splash, ends up with 450 crash. That move is not giving him great outcomes lately, it seems. But following that, we finally get the Gulak. It seems like it's almost fully applied, but it looks like Tony Nese's head is not fully locked in. So this allows Tony Nese to get out of it. Another roll through, and then we get a vicious German suplex to the turnbuckle. Gee, I wonder what that's going to lead to. Running knee strike. But countered into a wicked clothesline by Drew Gulak. Turns Tony Nese inside out. Nearest cover we see in the match. Tony Nese kicks out. Daivari looks on again, still surprised and shocked. And then following this, we get another basically suplex after a super kick attempt into a cover, and then one last suplex later, one running knee strike later, not two like against Buddy Murphy, which kind of surprised me. Tony Nese wins 1, 2, 3. So the way I see it, Drew Gulak for me, he's got to be like the uncrowned cruiserweight champion at this point. I feel like he's due to become cruiserweight champion, but he keeps losing. If he's going to become cruiserweight champ, he's going to have to change up his strategy. He's got to pick up wins. The wins do matter on 205 Live. This is his second loss now, and his second loss now to Tony Nese alone. With this now tying the two up 2-2, I have to imagine this is going to culminate in Drew Gulak versus Tony Nese down the line for the title. Sorry, Bari, for the Cruiserweight Championship, and I feel like that's going to be the time that Drew Gulak finally becomes Cruiserweight Champion. I feel he's long overdue for it. But I did enjoy this main event overall, once again. So that's my thoughts on that. So, yeah.
Well, speaking on that, too, what I have this idea I'm hoping they do is that after Nese gets past Daivari, they set it up. So I would say SummerSlam would be the perfect opportunity. Gulak does something out of the ordinary. He just pretty much looks at Nese like, okay, we're tied up 2-2 because we just talked about this. Gulak beat him the first 2 times. Nese has beat him the last 2 times.
Yeah.
They do a rubber match because I think they both can pull it off. They do a 30-minute Iron Man match for the Cruiserweight title. They pull it off at SummerSlam, and that could be Gulak's crowning moment. He beats Nese. That's the way I would want to see it happen. Will they do that? Will they pull the trigger? Because I believe they both can pull off a 30-minute Iron Man match and do something different. Because like I said before, these two can do a different match every time and make it watchable, great storytelling, and I like all their matches. So like I said, I think they could pull it off. So hopefully if WWE's listening to this, they actually do something like that. That would be a great way to culminate these two men's story. And throughout the years of them two being partners and feuding with each other and et cetera, just go from there and let's have a culmination to the story that way.
Yeah, and we can only hope for something like that at this point because an Iron Man match would be a first for 205 Live. And you're right, I feel like these two can truly pull it off. I feel like under the right circumstances, they can both pull off an incredible match, surprise us with maybe some moves we haven't seen yet, especially Drew Gulak. I want to see how much deeper he can go into his arsenal because right now he needs the most involvement, I feel, for his arsenal because he's got to pull out a win here. We got to see something change. I want to see Drew Gulak as champion, deserves it, but I do hope these two do face off at SummerSlam and it culminates there, and it does not belong on the fucking kickoff show. For the
no.
I'm not going to yell tonight, but I digress.
If you make it a 30-minute Iron Man match, it better not be all the kickoff show.
Oh, you're telling me. That would super piss me off. But, yeah, I thought, once again, this was a nice, simple edition of 205 Live, how it not only brought in some, well, I guess you can't really say new faces, but returning faces that are sure to shake up the roster, hopefully for the better, except for tag division. But it called back to how many of the men involved tonight are truly pioneers of this division, as they've been on since episode 1, and we got another tremendous main event. I thought this was a very nice episode overall. It's a 4 out of 5 for me. Well, how would you rate this week's episode?
I would give it a 4.5 out of 5. Like I said, I actually really like the opener, how that was done. Like I said, I like the middle of it where they set up the next week's match with Mike Kanellis and Tozawa and possibly Mike Kanellis' future opponent with the Brian Kendrick. And like I said, I can watch Drew Gulak and Tony Nese all day wrestle each other. Like I said, they have incredible storytelling. Like I said, Drew Gulak reminds me so much of Dean Malenko from back in WCW. And even in WWF/WWE, he reminds me so much of Dean Malenko with his psychology. And like I said, I would say 4.5 out of 5 for me today on this episode.
Yeah, and you also notice after the match how Drew Gulak, he seems to be knowing that he needs to change stuff up. I feel like these losses are finally getting to him. He looks kind of, I don't know, contemplated, but he also looks kind of disappointed. So it's going to be interesting to see what Drew Gulak bounces back from here. Is he going to be involved next week? Is he going to give us like another promo? Is he going to change up his mat game or his whole in-ring strategy? There's so many possibilities now for Drew Gulak on which way he goes. We have no idea. We do know one match to expect next week. We don't know what else to expect. I imagine it's going to be another squash match or maybe a tag team match now that the Steam Brothers are back. They might even challenge Lucha House Party again. I have no idea. Yeah. But it was a good episode overall. I enjoyed it. Okay. So let's go ahead and talk about some simple stances. And I think it's only fitting to talk about really episode 1 because that's what they really called back to. So I look back at episode 1 because all this time I was like, you know what, I'm going to go back to episode 1 and check it out. And yeah, it was really quite a stacked episode. I mean, you had everything was different back then. You had Marwanello, Corey Graves, and Austin Aries in commentary. The one consistent thing about 205 Live, the ring announcer has never changed. It's always been Greg Hamilton. I think he does a great job. And get our matches, which was Tony Nese and Drew Gulak at the time, who were a tag team, facing the Bollywood Boys, as they were known at the time, aka the Singh Brothers, who again beat them. They actually pinned Drew Gulak. Drew Gulak was the one that ate the fall. And then we had Arya Daivari. He lost to gentleman Jack Gallagher with, of course, a headbutt running corner dropkick combination. And then you had video packages hyping up people for the roster, including, not limited to, Noam Dar, Grim Metalik, and Lindsay Dorado. And then, of course, we had our main event where the inaugural champ at the time, the Brian Kendrick, he defended his title against Rich Swann in a stellar main event where Rich Swann became Cruiserweight champion. I thought that first episode was extremely interesting. When you consider how many of those names are still on the roster and the show to this day and how much they evolved and changed over time, it's certainly something. But there is one name I do want to bring up. Austin Aries. What are your thoughts on him?
On Austin Aries in general, or him being on the 205 Live brand when he was on there?
Well, the thing is, when he was on there, he literally was on there as a commentator. And then it wasn't until he really pulled the trigger on Raw against Neville, Cruiserweight champ at the time, that he got into some title matches. And, of course, they were pretty much disrespected always in the kickoff show. Didn't receive royalties of WrestleMania 33. And then he lost and lost and lost, and it looked like he just went away. And ever since his little thing he did at Impact, he's been MIA ever since. Do you think Austin Aries should ever come back to 205 Live as a commentator or a ring competitor?
I think Austin Aries maybe one day should come back to 205 Live and get the push that I think he deserved. Like I said, Austin Aries is one of those great wrestlers. Like I said, he was very successful in TNA. He won the world title. He won the X Division championship. As everybody who remembers that he was the man who he claimed it for a while. He was the man who came up with option C when he won the X Division title, when he got to vacate the title, the challenge for the world title, and actually won the world title.
Against Bobby Roode.
It's like I said, people have to go back in history and look at that. That was an incredible match. Austin Aries is one of those great wrestlers. He's probably one on my top 10 list of favorite wrestlers all time. I think if he comes back, he needs to come back with an impact. He needs to be dominant. He needs to show the world how great he is. And like I said, he needs to become the 205 Live Cruiserweight champion, pretty much. He needs to be the man. If he comes back on that brand, he needs to be dominant, and he needs to win the title and have a run with that title. He was too damn good not to get a run with that title. He should have easily had beat Neville at some point. Neville, as great as Neville is, and he was a great wrestler. I loved the Red Arrow. He was a great heel. But I think Aries at some point should have beat him at some point to win that title.
Yeah, I agree. I just hope that whatever case he's in, he's doing all right. But I think Austin Aries would be a welcome name back on 205 Live, especially for his in-ring ability. Speaking of people who might be back, might not, Lio Rush. So apparently Lio Rush is once again getting heat backstage. I've heard stuff about maybe his wife always being with him, or just some other stuff about his overall character and locker room ethics. Lio Rush is one of those names that started off for a little bit on 205 Live on a hot streak, and then it kind of fizzled out when he became the hype man / talk man for Lashley. Now, I haven't watched Raw this week, so I have no idea whether or not the two came out together. Is he still a talk man, or is Lashley on his own? Is Lashley still stuck in the mid-card tag team of doom with Baron Corbin and Drew McIntyre? Who, let's face it, Drew McIntyre at this point, he should be in the title picture, but I digress. What are your thoughts on Lio Rush? Do you think he should return to 205 Live?
Okay, like I said, I think we've talked about this before with Lio Rush. Lio Rush is a good hype man. Like I said, he does a great job with Bobby Lashley, hyping him up. Because Bobby Lashley is not the strongest promo. He never has been. He's been more for his powerhouse wrestling. Okay, Lio Rush on 205 Live, he'd be a great addition to 205 Live. I think he could have a great match with anybody on that roster. And if he stayed on there long enough and consistently enough, I can see him becoming the champion one day. But will he stay on there consistently, or are they going to keep pulling him back and forth where he's the hype man of Bobby Lashley? Or if they end up breaking up for good, will he be a hype man for somebody else? Because like I said, he's a great talker. He's a great talker, and he's a great wrestler. And people don't give him enough credit for how good of a wrestler he is because he's been doing so much of the hype man stuff for Lashley as of late.
Right.
At the end of the day, like I said, if he goes back to a 5 Live, like I said, I think he'd make an immediate impact on that brand. He could have some really great matches. I'd like to see some interesting matches. I'd like to see him face Lorcan, for example. I think that'd be a great, interesting dynamic. I'd like to see him wrestle Nice. I'd like to see him fight Gulak. I like to see him wrestle everybody on that roster. I like to see him against a gentleman. I think he could be put with anybody, and he can put off a great match with anybody on that roster, which is hard because a lot of people don't have chemistry, but I think he can pull off a great match with anybody on that roster right now.
Yeah. And, yeah, I feel like Lio Rush right now, he's in a weird spot, but he can carry himself under both fronts, unlike many people. So when you can carry yourself on both fronts like that, I feel like you definitely are comfortable to work on 205 Live and maybe the main roster. I mean, look at Lucha House Party. They're being squashed by the War Raiders. Yeah, fuck Vince McMahon and his friggin' name convention. But on 205 Live, they're giving you competitive, great openers. And it seems like it's a comfortable spot for them. Good exposure. Speaking of which, let's talk exposure. So we know that the 205 Live roster, it's like less than 20 people. I think it's like 15 at this point, even with the Scene Brothers now. Do you think there's anybody on the Cruiserweight roster that is overexposed or underexposed? In either case.
I think the Brian Kendrick's a little underexposed. Like I said, he's been wrestling for a long period of time. I think they should use him a little bit more and put him in some matches. Like I said, he could help put over some of the other guys. He could still perform at a high level. Other than that, like I said, I think 205 Live does it better than a lot of like the main brands, and they don't overexpose these guys too much. Like I said, they do different things, like I said, I just don't think they overexpose too many people. Like I said, because it's either a 45-minute to an hour show, depending on how many matches they have and what's going on with the storytelling. I think they do a great job not overexposing too many people.
Yeah, and I think that's to their advantage too, considering how small their roster is, but yet how they always mix it up with the talent they've seen. I mean, some people would probably say at this point, Drew Gulak's probably the most exposed because he's not only been in constant main events that he's lost, but he's also been pretty much in every episode you can think of in subsequent storylines. But the fact that his character is used differently, from in-ring competition to outside management to even commentary, it caters to how good Drew Gulak is, not only to this brand, but as an overall entertainer. So Gulak is the most comfortably exposed on the 205 roster. As far as underexposed, yeah, I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head. To think, the Brian Kendrick, he really hasn't done a lot since he came on the very beginning of 205 Live as the champ. He has yet to go after the title again, even in a titles match. So I'm hoping if your philosophy is right as far as Mike's next feud, that it will culminate with the Brian Kendrick versus Mike Kanellis for #1 contendership to the Cruiserweight title, who I imagine champ at that time, it's got to be either Tony Nese or Drew Gulak. Because I'm sorry, as far as building Aries as your top heel, I do not see Tony Nese as the transitional champion right now. Because a key difference with the Cruiserweight title versus many of the other titles, the title does matter. It not only makes the brand, it makes the champ. Because that champ might go on longevity for months holding the title versus WWE that really will switch a title like that on the main roster. So,
and like I said, since they've had the title on 205 Live, I don't think they've had no, I'm going to correct myself. They've only had one transitional champion. That was Tozawa winning it on Raw, then losing back to Neville 6 days later. That was the only time I can remember any transitional champion. Which that was a shame too, because I thought Tozawa had a good chance to have a little bit of run. I wish he would have held it a little bit longer before he lost it back to Neville, but, you know.
Well, the problem is you were dealing with Monday Night Raw booking because it was also the time he was under Titus Worldwide, and Titus O'Neil even appeared on 205 Live. who's not under 205 pounds, so it didn't make a lick of sense. So
No.
he was doomed from the get-go, unfortunately. Ah, jeez.
Yeah,
So
we won't get back into the Enzo Amore fiasco. We won't get back into that
let's not
one.
mention
His
that name.
champion.
God. Sorry, Virgil, don't care. Okay, so let's talk about shakeup. So the shakeup, like I said, they have no idea what they're doing. It's still going on, okay? So as far as we know, there could be another name coming to 205 Live. I feel like they do need at least one more big name. Maybe it'll come up after they do the Aria Daivari title match because, for example, we didn't see only Lorcan this week, but then again, he was in NXT with his running mate Danny Burch and Humberto Carrillo facing it off against the Forgotten Sons. I know
Yep.
we talked about this before, but we've got to come up with a literal name that can fill the spot of Buddy Murphy and Alexander. Because I feel like if 205 gets a talent, it's going to be only one more talent. So I know you had a lot of thoughts about this, and I know you have a lot of names, but I'm going to see if you have literally one name. If you could have one name, just one name to the 205 roster, who would it be?
Devlin.
Jordan Devlin, really? Okay.
He'd make an interest addition. Like I said, that man is the MVP of NXT UK, and if they're not going to plan to put the UK title on him anytime soon with Walter being champion, I said let's put him on 205 Live and let him dominate there. Because like I said, I could see him easily getting the cruiserweight title faster than I could see him getting a UK title anytime soon. Not as long as Walter's champion.
I mean, with Walter as champ, you got a really, really, really rough chance beating that guy. I'm just saying. Go look at Hello Wembley. Go look at Progress. Go look at NXT TakeOver again and check out that match. I still watch that match. My favorite match from that show. I love that brand. But yeah, Jordan Devlin, very interesting pick. He would also be a top heel on 205 Live, which of course they're really lacking when you look at the heel versus face ratio of the roster. It's very unbalanced. But again, I'm still going with my original thought here, especially with I feel like they're just name dropping and teasing it happening because he did have an incredible one-off with Cedric Alexander, I believe. I feel like Roderick Strong's coming at 205 Live, and if Tony Nese is still champ at the time, those two could pull off an incredible hard-hitting match. They're both, in my opinion, premier athletes and powerhouses. With Roderick Strong literally being exactly 205 pounds, I could see him carrying the cruiserweight division to the future. Now, I know some people are going to tell me, oh, he's married, though. And they're keeping married couples together. I understand NXT and all that stuff. So chances are it probably happen. But I can be optimistic and think about it because I truly can see Roderick Strong as the Cruiserweight champion and maybe even bring in a new belt because I got to be honest, purple leather kind of turning me off.
Right. Well, since we were talking about earlier, I was talking about comparing Gulak to Dean Malenko. What are your thoughts of Dean Malenko no longer being with the WWE anymore? Like I said, he was one of the great cruiserweights back in WCW. He won the light heavyweight title in the WWF/WWE. He was been a road agent for a long period of time. What are your thoughts of him no longer being with the company?
It just goes to show you can only handle so much from Vince because apparently he was also creative for a lot of the tag team matches that we were getting, which Vince probably would go and be like, we're going to do this for the 15th time because I like it. So apparently, hey, he did what was best for him, what was best for his business. And he's already on the up and up because he already got his next booking. He's going to be at StarCast during Double or Nothing, AEW weekend, I like to call it. I could see him becoming an intricate part maybe in AEW creative, especially with AEW's stacked tag team division. Before I go too deep in on topic there, I think it's very interesting how after all this time, he finally left. But of course, with WWE changing out their entire creative strategies and team, it seemed, getting rid of all the old guys and bringing all these new names in. For what reason, I have no idea. It'll be interesting to see who they get as far as filling his role and what they do down the line as far as developing tag team matches. But I'm happy Dean Malenko's already got something going for him. And I was quite surprised seeing that news. All the best to him. Honestly, I could see him becoming maybe one day a one-off special guest referee on a 205 Live match. No idea. But it certainly caught me by surprise. It was one of the first things I actually read today when I finally got back on social media. I was like, what? Dean Malenko left? Lufa. He's been on there. He's been part of the creative forever. I didn't know he has the tag team part, though, but I knew he was part of the company still in the back row. So, yeah, that was very interesting to me. And to think they have all these names now in creative, it's like, whatever. You're just here to give me something, and then I'm just going to override you. Because, again, as long as Vince is know-all, say-all, be-all, tell-all, end-all, your words mean duly squat.
Pretty much, as long as he's in control of everything.
And if you go against me, well, you're going to end up poorly booked or not booked at all, because I've been reading some just bad stuff. But again, I'll leave that up to the elite guys to talk about. Maybe they'll talk about that in the No DQ review. The state of the locker room and main roster mentality. Only time will tell. Your light went off. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think this was a very nice conversation about shake-up, roster, 205 Live outlook, potential for the future, and outgoing hypotheses of what to expect and what we want to expect. So I think that's a good way to wrap up this slightly short, brief episode because I'm still recovering from my hiatus. Good stuff. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight on 205 Live Matters. And once again, Chris, welcome back. Good to see you. You're looking great. All the best to your family. Thank you for joining me once again on our episode. Where can people find you, and what would you like to plug?
Let's say you can follow me on Facebook at Chris Forever Mace. Support the Simple Man here, Noah Foster. Support Colin Andrews and his show, Chopping Block. Support Aftermatch Wrestling. Step on in general. Like I said, I believe those guys were instrumental in you helping you to start your own show here with 205 Live Matters, Noah, and for Colin starting his own show, The Chopping Block, that's getting up and going. You can follow us on the Facebook group, Armbar, all capitals, AMRBAR, exclamation point. That way Jared can't yell at me because I didn't say it on his show. Other than that, that's pretty much that's and sportnodq.com. Like I said, we're all wrestling fans. Let's support each other's opinions. There's no need to ever be disrespectful or mean or hateful to anybody. We all are lifelong fans of wrestling. We all love wrestling. Let's support each other's opinions. That's all I gotta say.
Brilliant. Always brilliant. I think you misspelled armbar, but I'm sure Jerry will pick that up. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this edition. And as always, I'm just a simple man and a lifelong fan of wrestling. So if you want to follow me and talk anything wrestling, WWE, AEW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Ring of Honor, Impact, Independent Wrestling, support local independent wrestling, folks, and anything in between or above, you can look me up, nodq.com/Noah. It takes you to my Twitter page, or check out my simple YouTube channel here, where you'll find this series and my predictions for pay-per-views outside WWE at youtube.com/users/Noah Foster 210. Just like the holiday here says, go support NoDQ.com. Go buy a shirt. NoDQ.com/shirts. Support the YouTube channel here. Aaron with NoDQ.com. Support the website. Because Europeans matter, you can interact with us on anything. Comments, polls, memes, gifs, sexy female pics. You name it. It's all there. Have fun. Talk to somebody. Make a friend. And as always, as I like to close, because I'm keeping it simple, support your wrestling house big and small, and let's keep growing this wrestling community together. Simple as that. With that, it's good to be back. And again, the champ will be retaining his title during Money in the Bank. And I'm taking it to Double or Nothing. Ha! And with that, week for another edition of 205 Live Matters. I hope you all are doing well. If you are in college on your finals, good luck to you all yourself more. And good luck to everybody in life. And with that, have a good night.
Have a good night, everyone.
And again, give 205 Live a chance. You want something different? This won't even take an hour. Honestly, it won't. Take care.